tonight. So thank you again. Let's give our candidates a good round of applause. Thank you. Okay, we'll be moving now into the second half of our candidates forum. And so with that, we would like to welcome Bob Patterson, running for treasurer of Lake County. He is the Republican candidate. The Democrat candidate, Lorraine Fendi, said that she was unable to be here tonight. So we will have just one candidate tonight. And so we will have basically the same format, except we won't have a second candidate to whom to address questions. So we will go into the 3-minute opening remarks, and Mr. Freight is right there. He's got the sign. So when you see that white piece of paper up there, then that's an indication you need to get close to wrapping up. So 3 minutes for opening remarks. Then we'll have some questions. If you have questions from the audience, Lou, you still have some papers, or somebody has some papers that you can write out the questions and bring them up, and we'll bring them up here. Hold your hand up, Lou will get them, and then we'll have 2 minutes for closing remarks. So with that, go ahead.
Thank you, Chuck. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Tea Party, for being here tonight. I'm Bob Patterson. I'm running for Lake County Treasurer. It's a big job. I was approached by a close friend to run for this position, and my immediate reaction was, I don't want anything to do with it. The reason I said that was I was tied up with my own business, Patterson Financial Services. After some thought, though, like 3 weeks, I looked at what was going on in our county, and I thought, who's running for this job and why? And I didn't see anything on the horizon that gave me confidence that there was someone that could step up and do this very important job. So I gave it some thought, and I decided to pull a petition and run. This is a job that a lot of people probably don't even pay any attention to. And I was probably one of them myself. I didn't realize that we had a $160 million portfolio to handle. These are dormant tax dollars before they're sent into the communities. The other portion of the job was on 4 boards now that they said that's very, very important. One is the Data Processing Board. My background at Ernst & Young as a senior manager brings to a lot of potential for changing what we're doing right now. Do you all hear of the cloud? Do you know what the cloud is? Raise your hand if you do. Okay, so a lot of you know. I've been on the commissioners, I've been talking to the commissioners for about 6 months, or emailing them, to look into the cloud. The city of Chicago and the state of Illinois incorporated the cloud last year and saved thousands in IT costs. Why isn't Lake County doing it? If I'm elected treasurer, that's one of the things I'll look for. I'm kind of ignoring my background tonight because some of you may have seen me here before, but I just want to express some things that are on my mind right now. Since I don't have anybody here to talk to back and forth, I've been on a couple of quasi-debates with my opponent, and I couldn't figure out why she was talking about transparency. And until the other night, in front of Unity in the Community, she said, if you don't have government experience and you don't have the experience in dealing with transparency, and you're only used to the private business sector, which is what I'm used to, the private business sector, this is a big change. This is a real big problem. And I'm sitting there, I'm scratching my head, I'm thinking, well, I was a trustee in Concord Township for 4 years, which has transparency. And I scratched my head some more, and I said, well, it took me like 15 to 20 minutes to figure the difference in the accounting procedures between public corporations and transparent government organizations. It's not that difficult. What's really important is that you know how to manage money. In the words of John Crocker, you're the chief investment officer of this county. And if you don't have, like I have millions of dollars under management, now one of my clients lost a penny in the Great Recession. I'm running out of time, but if I'm elected, I'll promise not to lose 1 penny of taxpayer dollars.
And you can probably just remain standing. First question that we have is, if you would please explain for us your vision for efficiency opportunities in the county treasurer's office.
Good question. I touched on it a little bit with some of the board assignments. I don't know if you all know that Crocker's been in there for quite a few years, and he's taken the head count in that department from 16 to 8. It's a 50% reduction. If I'm elected, I'll use what I've used my whole life, most of my life. In my I had 2 consulting businesses in the 90s, and it was extremely successful. I could go into a company and I could increase their productivity, I could make them more money, but guess what? I didn't do it. I walked into the company, tried to find out what the president's goal was, what his problems were, sat down, and I thought, now, how am I going to get, now, I probably knew the answer from other companies and things I've been doing in the past, but I learned one thing. You never walk in and you never say, I know more than you, because you really don't. You really won't know a business until you analyze it, and you won't know the treasurer's office until you really dig in and find out who's doing what. And the way you do that is you get the people together, you work on, you supply them the information they need and the small problem-solving analysis that they use, that they learn to use. And guess what? After a few weeks or months, they come up with the solutions to improve things. Some of those people have been in that job for 20, 25 years. You don't think they know what they need? They probably do. And probably the answer they get is, we can't afford that. So my job is going to be a facilitator to try and improve the productivity, to try and get things done. And that's just on the personnel side. I didn't get a chance to talk about the rest.
Okay. Maybe I think you touched on this already. Give you an opportunity to expand upon your answer if you wish. But if you would please explain why you're running for this office at this time.
I think the main reason I'm running is I'm 65 years old, and I'm at a point where am I going to continue to expand my business, Patterson Financial Services, or am I going to say, well, let's just let that go into retirement, walk off into the sunset with my wife Sandy and sit on the beach at Little Palm Island and look at the sunset, drinking a margarita. That's not me. I want to take the knowledge I have of the past 25 years of financial investing and let that knowledge, impart that into the county and give back. We live in one of the greatest places we ever lived. I lived in my life. Sandy and I have moved. When I was with General Electric, they moved me almost every year. I was in their management training program, and then I became a manager. I did this and that. When I went with Gulf and Western, we'd be moving all over the country. I was assistant to the Vice President of Operations, North American Operations. Then we went to 9 different places in 12 years. We came to Lake County, and we saw things that we've never seen before. You have good government, you have responsible government, you have people giving back to the community. It's just different here. I can't really put my finger on it, but Lake County's been good to me, and this is a chance for me to give back to Lake County.
This is a question that we received from the audience. At one of the county board meetings, I heard a commissioner say that he wanted to continue to borrow money. Would you advocate continued borrowing or reduce borrowing?
You're probably looking at one of the most, and I think my wife Sandy will agree to this, I'm probably one of the most conservative people in the world. If you have to borrow money, then it has to be for a reason and a good cause, and you really better need it. Last time I was here, we talked about the 0.5% tax increase. Was it necessary and everything? My attitude was, I wasn't there. I don't know what the I did take a look at the financials they get. Do you believe that our commissioners get a 300-page report every month about what's being spent and where? That their real budget is, their budget is $54 million, but they have a $250 million pass-through. There's all line items. You can't manage anything on a 300-page monthly review. You would have to sit there for a week going through line item by line item. We need to get some different management information to these commissioners to better control what they're doing. And likewise,